talking today is the state of consciousness after death. Death meaning here the death of the physical body. The body we are inhabiting in this physical world, the earthly world. After death, what happens is what we're going to be dealing, and the two states after death is what we're going to be dealing today. So first state. So to go over the basics of what we learn in Theosophy, there are 7 states of existence of a consciousness. The bottom one being the physical, that is what we are existing right now, the physical world, where we have a body, we have the house, the physical elements which have been set up for the growth of the soul. So after this comes the emotional part, which deals with our passions, the desires, all our thought forms. All these are the existence in the emotional. The next is a mental, buddhic, and atmic. These are the field of superhuman, normal human evolution. The bottom 3, the physical, emotional, and mental, are the field of elemental, mineral, vegetable, animal, and normal human evolution. So these have forms, but these are very higher, or as to say, a psychic level of existence. At the very top are the Adi and Anupadika. We are not going to touch about that. That Adi is the supreme soul, the logos, from which originated everything that we can see, the matter, the spirit, everything. That is the source, that's the logos, from which we have descended into the physical state, every one of us. Now what we have to understand here is today we are going to be talking about the emotional, mental, the buddhic, and atmic a little bit states. We just are going to leave the physical part because we know much about it. So we are going to move into the emotional state. And every state here, these 5 states here, are subdivided. Each state has 7 layers of existence. So the lowest form being the solid, liquid, gaseous, etheric, superetheric, subatomic, and the atomic. This is applicable to all these 5 states. Okay? That is something basic, what understanding of what we learn about in the Theosophical teaching literature. And this is how the human the world is structured. To go on in the same, this is another depiction of the same. So here we have the earth, which is a dense and etheric, where we have the body. Once we die, once we leave our physical body, death meaning when we are no longer able to use this body, when the consciousness doesn't die, the consciousness is still there, very much alive, but the consciousness loses its connection with the physical body. It's also called the cutting of the silver cord. So once this connection is split, the consciousness moves into the Kamaloka. The Kamaloka is a plane of desire or passion. We'll go into that a little bit deeper in just a second. And after the Kamaloka experience, which can last from anywhere from few days to centuries, we have a second death. Second death meaning not in a physical state over there, where our desires and passions that we have been accumulating all through this worldly life, everything has a form, everything has a power, everything has a structure. Nothing goes away, right? So we have been accumulating all these passions and desires, which forms the kama deha. Kama deha means like a passion body, literal translation. So when that disintegrates, the consciousness raises higher into the devachanic plane. So the devachanic plane is a plane of, the devachan literally means the place of gods. The literal translation is a place of gods, because once the consciousness moves from Kamaloka to Devachan, we are not bounded by these materialistic thought forms. The mind, the passions doesn't act on the spirit. The soul or the spirit is free from all these materialistic entanglements we have during the physical and the kama loka. So over there, the soul is much freer to explore its original nature and connect with the higher levels, which is in the Atma, Buddhic and Anupadika and Adi levels. But as a matter of fact, we don't know much about Anupadika and Adi, not much, because we from a physical state, we are not able to ascend to that level and understand that which is beyond the realm of the human mind understanding. It's only when we have a pure consciousness elevates to that level, it's a state of experience, not much could be brought down to physical level and talked about much. Now let's go indeed to talking a little bit about the kama loka. Okay, first, the kama loka is the very next state next to the physical body. So as soon as a person dies, he immediately, there is a small moment of unconsciousness where the consciousness is like asleep. It doesn't remember it's asleep, and then it awakens in the kama loka. Now when we say kama loka, where is it located? People say it's somewhere high in the heavens, somewhere people just travel over there. It's not. Kama loka is a region penetrating and surrounding the earth. It is on and in and above the earth. It extends some thousands of miles above its surface. So when we spoke about the different states earlier, all these lokas, these are, as it is depicted here, it's not stacked one above, they are interpenetrating. So the kama loka starts from here all the way up. The same way the Devachand is interpenetrating with the kama loka. So all these regions are not stacked one above the other. This is just a depiction or a diagram. It's not as actual how it is. How it is these are all interpenetrating in concentric circles. So the region penetrating and surrounding, like the kama loka is right here. It's right here, meaning the densest form of I told you there are 7 sublayers within the kama loka. So the lowest form is right here among us, but we are not able to see it because it is in a different dimension. The best example to say is, we are sitting here, but at the same time we have cell phones in our bag. There are a lot of electromagnetic waves passing through it because the signals are coming in, going out. But we don't see it, we don't feel it, but it's still there. Just because we don't see it and feel it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. It's the same state of existence. The kama loka is right here surrounding, and it also extends thousands of miles above its surface. But the entities therein are not under the same conditions as to space and time. The only difference is the entities dwelling in the kama loka, they are not subjected to the space and time as we are. So, say I want to go from here after the meeting to my home, back home, to Tomball. So it takes me like 40 minutes to drive from here to there because I have to take this dense physical body and I need a medium to carry this body to Tomball to my home. But say if I'm in the kama loka or the astral body existence, then just a thought of home, I am at home. Like there's the space and time, everything is present. There's no delay, there's no lag. Whatever you think of, you are there. It's just a state of being. The ruling force in kama loka is a desire, devoid and divorced from the intelligence. The astral body, the kama loka, the body which we use in kama loka is called the astral body. So I'm going to be going back and forth using the terminology. So just don't get confused with that. So the astral body is what we use in the Kamaloka, it's devoid of any intelligence. Okay, whatever body we have is there, we have built over the period when we are living here. What nurtures the Kamaloka or the astral body is our desires, our passions, and our spiritual aspirations. Everything creates vibrations. The thoughts what we go through every day, they sets up the vibrations in the astral plane, and when we pass to that plane, that's what we are surrounded with. Kamaloka is an intermediate between earth and heavenly life, which is the Devachan. Devachan is a higher level above the Kamaloka. Again, it's not above it, it's interpenetrating, it's in concentric circles. The Kamaloka, what is the scenery in the Kamaloka? Like, what do I see? Once I get up in my astral body, what do I see is a question many people ask. So, let Peter, in the classic book, The Astral Planes, he explains this astral plane, the Kamaloka. He describes the scenery. What are we going to see? It's, again, as I said, it's subdivided into 7 planes. The 6th, 5th, and 4th, these are classed as one class, and 1, 2, and 3 are classed as the second class, and the 7 is stands alone by itself. The 7th plane is the lowest of all forms and planes, which is dense, which is like, people with really materialistic aspirations, with no spiritual aspirations, in which they have the lower, the triad has been completely separated from the logos. Like, it is people who are very materialistic, completely attached to this life, with no, like, zero or nothing, a spiritual life. They dwell in the 7th plane. Not going to go much into this, but we are going to, most of the people, as soon as they die, they wake up in the 6th plane. In the 6th plane, they can see everything what we are seeing right now, but we can't see them. It is a depiction when every ghost movie, when somebody dies and the ghost is floating around, that's a very good picture of it. Our kids have seen Dr. Strange, and she takes him and he goes into his astral plane. It's just a projection of your whole body, but without the body just floating around. That's a depiction of that. So that is the form which most of the ghost sightings and mediums who communicate to people, so that is the state in which they are easily accessible, because they are just one plane above us and they can see us, and there are some people who have extra vision, they can sense them. Within this 4th, 5th, and 6th subdivision, everything is the same. The denser state, it's still a denser state. The molecule, the passions and desires are very strong, and they can still see, feel everything, right? But once they move into the third, second, and the first one, it is a state of sleepiness. They are much more detached from this worldly activities. They have risen up, and also at that state they are disintegrating their astral body, the Kamarupa. Once they have completely, if they have, for any soul to get into the Devachanic plane or the heavenly plane, the astral body needs to be completely disintegrated. What do we mean by disintegrate the astral body is, let me show a quick diagram for that. Okay, if we go through here, these diagrams are the representation from like bottom to top this way. So let's take astral body or the physical plane or the bodies of a highly developed individual. A highly developed meaning a very spiritualistic person. So a very spiritualistic person, so the outside, the blue, the purple, is a physical, the blue is a physical, and the purple is the etheric double. Etheric double is the prana. The prana, which is associated with the physical body, is always present with us. I'm able to stand here, talk, move, do whatever I'm doing just because I have the prana, or this body has the etheric double which has been provided at my birth, and it's going to be with me until I die. So it is a body which, as Led Peter says, it extends from every one of us 18 inches around our body, which is also referred in many Western cultures as the aura. Is the aura what we carry around us. At the depth of the physical body, the etheric plane also disintegrates. This disintegration happens in the 24 to 48 hours, or sometimes it takes even more than that. So we are going to be studying the physical and the etheric double, and we are going to move in the Kama Loka. In the Kama Loka, the red circle, what it is represented here, if you are a highly developed spiritual person with not much passion, I mean like a desire. You don't desire for like, oh, I want to be a famous singer, I want to be a millionaire, I want to make so much money, I want to look beautiful, I want to. It's all materialistic, right? You don't have any spiritual. Then your astral body is thick that way. This is astral body. You can see that the red part is so thick because we are giving it power. We are building it over a period of time with all our desires and passions. Any desires other than that for the spiritual aspirations, whatever we are desiring for over a period of whatever we are thinking, even the thought process, it gives energy to the astral body, and it makes it thick. The thicker this astral body or the desire plane is, the longer it takes for it to disintegrate. This is for the very, very, very low-level beings who are not very spiritually developed. This is the astral body of a very developed being who is on the spiritual path, who's not has much earthly desires. They tend to lose their shell very easily because it's not even strong over there. And this is about where we fall, the average person. It's good, it's bad. We are still on the path, not completely there, just taking baby steps. So it's not too bad, it's not too less. We slowly tend to lose the desire plane. Once we lose it, the astral body, Devachan, we take our mental body or the causal body to the Devachan. In the Devachan, we lose even the causal body and the logos. This is what it is, the inner triad that goes into the Arupa Loka. Can we just clear, or anybody wants to go over this again? Okay, getting back to these subdivisions within the Kama Loka, the difference between the classes as that of the difference between a solid and liquid, because it depends upon the density of the elements which make up the plane. The ordinary objects of the physical world form the backdrop for the low levels of the astral plane. The low levels of the astral plane being the 4th, 5th, and 6th, but one can see 360 degrees. So it's not just I have straight vision in the if I am awakened in my astral plane, so I'll be able to see what's happening all around me. At the same time, we are going to be seeing a lot more colorful life. A lot more colors are going to be perspective, we are able to see a lot more colors, and also a lot more energies, which are all prevalent right around us, but we are, in our physical life, we are blinded to all those things. So those starts to appear. Also, existence of the entirely different colors beyond the limits of the ordinary visible spectrum. Entities in the first, second, and third though occupy the same space, but are much further removed from this physical world and correspondingly less material. So the first, second, and third, they are higher above, which is almost they are trying to disintegrate their astral body and trying to move into the Devachan. So who are the inhabitants of the Kamaloka? So there are two types of inhabitants. One are the living and dead. Within the living category is the adepts and his pupil, not actually astral body. Actually, what are the types of people once we enter this space? Who are we going to be seeing? The first one is the adept. Adept is the masters, which we believe in, who are always working to guide us on our spiritual path. So those are the adepts are, they don't really have a natural or astral body because they are devoid of all desires. So they have completely disintegrated their astral body, but they need to have one just because somebody needs to see them. So they just create one temporary astral body with the elementals of the astral plane, which is denser, which enables the pupils to see them. So this kind of body is called a Maya Virupi. Maya Virupi is something illusionary form. The psychedelically developed person who is not under the guidance of the master, sometimes some people over a period of during various like Hatha Yoga or there are different methods during which they develop their astral vision, or the astral vision opens and they can be found roaming around. The ordinary person in sleep unconscious, every one of us visits the astral plane when we sleep, but when we awake we are not conscious about it. It is just feels like a dreaming, but every one of us do visit the astral plane in our sleep, but we are unconscious of it. The black magician or his pupil, again there are people trying to get there to get the energies in not a good way, so those people can be found wandering around. Those are the living part of the astral inhabitants. The dead ones, the Nirmanakaya, the Nirvanic Atma are service of the people. So these are the very divine people. So the Nirvanakayas are people who are completely they have passed this life and they are went into the Nirvanic state. That means they are enlightened beings. But they have sacrificed their further growth and they come back to this astral plane to guide people who are trying to get on their spiritual path, who are lost, who have wandered. Just like a service, they come back to this plane, although very uncomfortable for them. They just are doing that for the service of the people who are there, who are just wandered and trying to give them directions on how to move forward. The pupil awaiting reincarnation. With special help from master, some people sacrifice the heaven bliss of Devachan and reincarnate immediately. These are the pupils. There are two types of pupils here. The people awaiting reincarnation. Some people, they die out of accident. Accident means they have not completed this lifespan completely, but they die when somebody stabs them, somebody shoots them. They're not supposed to die, but some free will, evil spirit just thought of going on a shooting rampage and shoots people. So these people die an untimely death because they are not completed their life completely. And sometimes children die below the age of 7, falling sick or something, but they were not supposed to die. So these people, they retain the same casual body, and with the help from the masters, they are found following one of these masters, waiting for a suitable family to reincarnate immediately. They are not going to go to the heavenly phase because they didn't have much experience in the world to go to the heaven and try to learn from it, like relive and learn from his experience, because they don't have much experience. It was a very untimely death. Apart from that, some people who are highly evolved and they are required to take birth at some space or some place just to help other people. So what they do is they are always under the guidance of the master, of course. So the master says, you can go into the Devachan, the heavenly phase, and enjoy your bliss over there. Or if you seems to be of help to us, if you're willing to sacrifice your heavenly place, could you take rebirth here and try to guide these people? Because we need help here. So these people, of course, being spiritually enlightened, they would jump into this kind of sacrifice, and they are the ones which are helping, which are waiting for reincarnation. Those people can be found there. The ordinary person after death, this is the largest number. Many people die every second, every minute. So all these people are immediately entering into the Kamalokam. The shades, the shells. These we will go in detail, and the white glass shell. These will go in detail a little bit later. These are the, to give a brief description, these are the mere astral corpuses. That means a person who has a strong astral body, who has strong passions and desires. These, as I said, these are energy beings. Nothing gets destroyed, right? Every thought we give, every thought we are having, every action we are doing, every desire we are generating, every minute, every second of the day, this is feeding our astral body. It's making it stronger. Especially when these kind of desires and passions are not of the higher value, higher aspects, like a spiritual path. Anything materialistic, these will be feeding. Even when the soul moves on to the Devachanic phase, what Leadbeater says is, these astral beings forms like a shell or a corpus, and they can be found floating around. And these are energized elementals. These elementals are so energized, they try to look for somebody who can attract and try to make an influence on them. They almost are like having the life of their own. Even though they don't have this intelligence, they don't have the soul, just because we have fed it so much. Say somebody was a serial killer. He has this evil intentions, this evil desires to kill somebody, to hurt somebody, and all this builds up this bad astral body for him. Even though on that plane he moves on, the soul moves on to the Devachanic, this astral body, which is like, has this all negative energies which he has filled in, can be found floating around like a discarded garment or like a plastic bag flying around in the air. And what is the other bad thing it does is, people who have a weak mind and who always think about bad, it attracts those kind of elementals. The person who had fed it with like, oh come on, go kill somebody, I've got to kill somebody, this kind of elementals influences the person to do it. So that's why there are some psychological people who say that, oh, somebody asked me to do it, somebody asked me to kill. So these are the people who are influenced by these discarded shells. So that's why HPB and Annie Besant and Leadbeater again and again and again reiterate in every work of theirs, watch your thoughts, because every thought you have gives a power. It might be good, it better be good, because good things always makes good. But once it's a negative thought, don't give it energy. Don't give it any energy, because this energy, even if you die, it's going to be there. Even if this energy that you created, even if you go to the Devachan, this energy, if it influences to do something bad on somebody else, that karma, you carry it wherever you go. So this thought forms, they say, are very, very powerful weapons, much more destructive than any nuclear weapon. So they say, always watch your thoughts, have good intentions, good feelings. That goes a long way. And the suicide and the victims of sudden death, as I said, the victims of sudden death sometimes may waiting for reincarnation, or sometimes victims of sudden death might have to live out the rest of their life, be it 6 years or 60 years, whenever he was destined to die in physical life, they will have to wait in their Kamaloka to moving on to the Devachanic plane. And even the people of the suicide, who commit suicide, which is the worst thing you can do for yourself, as Leadbeater says, these people can move on to the Devachanic plane. Can they have, or not, they do have a physical body to come back. So they're always floating around, and he says it is an eternal hell. Whereas hell, he says, that's what it is. Like, these people are just stuck over there. They can't grow forward. can't go back. It's just a waste of time, and that's what hell is, he kind of says. These are the other beings of the Kamaloka, but it's going to take a lot more time to go into these things, but these are some of the things that has been listed by that leader. This is just the same thing we already went through. The prana portion, I would like to talk a little bit about this. The prana portion of the life energy appropriated by the man in his embodied state, having lost his vehicle, the etheric double, which with the physical body has slipped away from its controlling energy, must pass back into the great life reservoir of the universe. This talks about the disintegration of the etheric double. Most of the times they say the etheric double, when a man physical body is buried, the etheric double kind of floats around on the grave until it disintegrates. Or sometimes it can be found floating around the vicinity of the graveyard or the home they lived in or their dwelling. And people who report of sightings of ghosts, the physical form, the appearance of it is just like the ghost what they have clearly depicted in the movies, which gives us a good idea. That's what it is, the etheric double, that it just keeps floating around. And many of the times, people who say of spotting the ghost or something, that's what they are confusing for. And that's what people see in the graveyards, something floating around, that's the etheric body or the prana, which is disintegrating. Once it disintegrates, just like the physical body goes back to the elementals of the earth, the etheric double goes back to its universal elementals. The desired body or the astral body undergoes a marked change soon after the death. The different densities of the astral matter of which it is composed arrange themselves in a series of shells or envelopes. The densest being outside, shutting the consciousness away from all but very limited contact and expression. The consciousness turns in on itself if left undisturbed and prepares itself for the next step towards next step onwards, while the desired body gradually disintegrates shell after shell. That's what Andy Besant puts it. What happens to your desired body is, if you have not a very strong desire body with not much energy you have fed with it, it's very light and light. So the soul prepares for itself. As soon as you die, your astral body arranges itself from the densest to the most lightest in a form of circles and waits for its disintegration. If you're not feeding with it more energy and more passions and desires, like say, oh, I wanted to do this before I die, I don't want to die, I want to get this done, like something which you are strongly bound to, something with material, the desire body takes a longer time to disintegrate. But the faster you let go of things and try to move on, the desire body or these shells disintegrate. If a person has led a pure life and steadfastly striven to raise and identify himself with the higher than the lower part of his nature, the passionate elements in him, being but weak and accustomed to comparatively little activity, will not be able to assert themselves strongly in the Kamaloka. It's just saying how much you feed the Kamadeha or the astral body, that's how much it can control you. The more you feed it, the more it's going to control you, which should not be the case, which should be the other way around. Also they mention this important point. The deep sorrow and desires of the mourning friends and family draws the disembodied souls towards the earthly memories. This is what literature says. He says clearly, even though you love a person very much, right? It can be anybody close, your mom, your dad, your kid, or anybody, passes away, moves on. If you are deeply mourning for them, wishing for them to be here, he says, it might be as much as with love you're doing, but it is still selfish to do that because it hurts them in the Kamaloka very much. He says that the ascending soul is pulled back due to this deep emotional mourning of some of the loved ones. So he says the best thing you can do for somebody who has passed is pray for them to go into the Devachani, move away from their desires. Let them be freed of their astral body and move up into the Devachani. That's what is the best thing you can do, rather than mourning. The duration of Kamaloka depends on the passions and desires of the being, maybe days to centuries. So as I said, it may be days. People can disintegrate their Kama Rupa in a matter of days or weeks or months. And they say on average, person with average spiritual knowledge can disintegrate it completely in 40 days and move on to Devachan. 40 days as a more spiritual meaning of it stands for one mandala or something like that. Or people who have strong desires and emotion, it may take centuries to, they just stay there. It's just as it's been repeatedly said, it's just a waste of time. If you are having these passions and desires and you're not able to fulfill it, but you still go on seeking for it, you're just going to waste your time, just move on. The second death or the birth in Devacha. So, the moral triad sets itself free from the desire body and passes out of the Kamaloka. The Aryan Manas draws back its ray, colored with the life scenes it has passed through, and carrying with it the experiences gained through the personality it has formed. So this is what we are speaking of. This is the Devachan or the higher triad. It is going into the lower manas, which is the Rupaloka. In the Rupaloka or in the Devachan, as I said, there is two parts. One is the Rupaloka and Arupaloka, the lower and the higher. Just the name is lower, it doesn't mean it's something mean or anything, it's still a higher plane. It's the existence of the soul. Where all you can carry any of this thoughts, your mind, activities, desires, everything has to be discarded. Your soul, who you are, the pure entity of God within you just ascends to the heavenly plane. So what is the purpose of this plane? It is stated as, if you say Devachan, it is literally the place of gods, where you don't have any sorrows, you don't have any, you create a world for yourself. It's basically heaven. Like whatever you think of, you have it over there. So they say it's all an illusion. To begin with, there was this very confusory remark, because whatever we know of Devachan is none of a person from living over here has gone in there. For Kamaloka, many people have gone in there. In their living state, many masters visit there every day, come back, work over there in the night times when they sleep and come back. So they bring back the experiences. They go there, kind of go there, do the research in a lab and come back and get the experience and say, oh, I saw this one, I did this one, this is what beings there. So this is very easy research because this is the plane next above. But they say for Devachan, it is a whole different level of dimension. People in this normal consciousness cannot go there, have an experience or study the environment and cannot come back here or bring what experience back into this physical brain and then write about it. So whatever we have known about it, most of it has come from the masters themselves. Masters, adepts, they have the capability to get into the Devachan, communicate over there to anybody they want, and bring back or explain these the experiences. Mm-hmm. So the first account of this was given to A.P. Sennett in the Mahatma letters, and to A.O. Hume and of course HPP. So he says it's a state, it's a most illusory state. Illusory meaning, it doesn't mean that it is all bad, it has no meaning, it definitely has meaning. It's called a Mayavi state. Maya means, literally translating, it's an illusory state. Even this life is an illusion. From the adept's point of view, we every day strike with our emotions and somebody did this to me and I'm sad, somebody did this to me, I'm so happy, I like this person, I don't like this. All these falls apart, right? All this is just a stage. We are performing. It's not true, but at the same time we are learning from it. It's the same state of existence in the Devachan. Over there, the mind creates an environment for itself. Like, say for example, a soul was a great musician. Great, he worked hard in learning music, and he is very passionate about music. When the soul transcends into the Devachanic plane, he creates a world of music for himself. He can develop his capabilities of music or singing, art, paint, poetry, whatever it is. Whatever you carry from this life experience, you're going to ruminate over that for a long, long time. So if you carry hatred, anger, jealousy, you're going to ruminate the same thing over there. You're creating a hell for yourself. So they say, there is no heaven and hell. What you create for yourself is what you attract for yourself. What you think is what you are going to experience over there. If you are constantly anger and jealousy and all the 7 virtues that you don't want to have that life, you're surrounded with that, that's the environment you're going to live in. Say you have love, compassion, service, or any special skills that you are very passionate about and you want to know more about it, you want to learn. Your causal body creates an environment for you, even though it is an illusion. It creates for you that environment, and you ruminate this life experience over there for a very long time. So that is a main activity that goes on in Devachan. So he says there is nothing what anybody creates for anybody. Everybody creates their own world over there. So what you have here is what you're going to be living there with. The struggling out of the body, the entire man goes to the Kamaloka, to purgatory. And also the Kamaloka is a state where the Christians call the state of purgatory, where he again struggles and loosens himself from the lower skandhas. Skandhas is a natural entity or an elemental which we are always associated with every states of life. This period of birth over, the higher principle of Atma, Buddha, Buddhi and Manas begin to think in a manner different from that which the body and brain permitted in life. That means here it's not the brain that is thinking, it's the soul. So it is the soul or the spiritually developed entity within you. Even though it's not completely developed, you have that spark within you. That is what is thinking, not your brain or matter. The necessity of the state after death is one of the necessities of evolution, growing out of the nature of mind and soul. The very nature of manas requires a devachanic state as soon as the body is lost, and it is simply the effect of loosening these bonds placed upon the mind by its physical and astral encasement. Why is the devachanic state is necessary? They say it is a state of restfulness. If the soul is made to incarnate right away after the death, it gets too tired. It has too much impressions in it which should get loose on. It needs to process and it needs to let go of it. Like over the period of Devachan, people review their life over and over again, learn from it, the soul learns from it. That's the whole purpose of this life. Like, the soul needs to learn through its experiences and let go of the lower aspects and raise the consciousness into the higher permanent beings. So this is the whole purpose here. The bonds placed upon the mind, the physical and the astral encasement places a bond to the soul. The whole purpose of Devachan is to lose these kind of bonds. Inhabitant. He is a spiritual being, but who is an inhabitant in the Devachan is a spiritual being, but one who has already passed out of the passive condition of pure spirit, and who by previous experience of matter in past ages has evolved intellect, the self-conscious mind, but ignorance leaves him prey to all the illusions of the gross matter. As soon as he comes in contact with it, he is subject to deceptive vision. even though he is not under the influence of his mind, but still when his illusions do play upon him in the Devachanic plane, because whatever he thinks he can get it, right? He wants to eat a whole bunch of cupcakes, he'll have be surrounded with cupcakes, right? So anything he thinks of, he has it over there. So that is a very heavenly state for him, because he creates his own world and he dwells within it. Everything is real to the being as this world seems to us. It simply now has gotten the opportunity to make it its own world for itself, unhampered by the clogs of physical life. In physical life, you have a lot of limitations. What you think is not what you get, but over there, whatever you think is what you get. So that's a state of existence. How long is the stay in Devachan? The ego remains in the Devachan for a time exactly proportional to the psychic impulses generated during life. So the higher the spiritual development of a man, the longer his duration in Devachan. Because the more spiritual matter he has, because the more spiritual review, he is reviewing his life in a more spiritual way, he tends to be there for a longer time. Because HPP gives a very good comparison. The amount of stay in your Devachan or the heavenly phase is directly proportional to your spiritual aspiration. The higher your spiritual goals or aspirations in your life, the more time you dedicated to knowing about yourself, knowing about the world, having a spiritual perspective of the life, the longer you get there to review your life and learn from it, because the soul needs to learn faster. That's the whole process of evolution, pushing you towards evolving into a complete being or a spiritual being. So the more time you spend in this life being a more spiritual person, the more time you're going to have in Devachan, which is good. No one but masters can tell what the time would be for the average man of this century in every land. The average time in Devachan is from around 1000 to 1500 years. HBB puts it like, some people get out easily. If they don't have any spiritual elements, they are not interested in any spirituality. They spend their whole life just doing their physical activity, eat, sleep, go to work, and not worry about anything, just living their life. Not having any deep thoughts or did not pay time for the intellectual development or spiritual development. Those kind of people don't tend to stay much longer in much time in Devachan. And even when they are there for the short time, they are still in a state of sleeping unconsciousness, like stupefaction or something. That's what they say, because you don't have. Unless you have a spiritual thoughts and evolution, you cannot use the elementals over there to create a causal body and work towards moving higher. So it's all with how much you have developed spiritually. That's how much life you're going to be there. But on average, HPP says for average people it should be like somewhere around 1000 to 1500 years. Masters note in one of the letters as follows: the dream of Devachan lasts until karma is satisfied in that direction. In Devachan, there is a gradual exhaustion of forces. But you can stay there even though you are a very good spiritual aspirant. Right? You are on the spiritual path, you have led a very good life. But you still have some balanced karma from previous lives which is still hanging there. That karma is not going to let you stay there peacefully, even though you're going on the right path. You gotta pay off your karma. So this karma finally comes in, pulls the spirit out of the Devachan into reincarnating. As long as we have the bonds of karma, we can never go anywhere higher, because we have to pay off what we create. So that's why the master says the people who have less karma, who live an enlightened life, who take care to live in awareness and not create more karma for themselves, they are freed from this karmic baggage and lets the spirit stay there. If the baggage is less, it cannot pull you very faster, because if you have a huge karmic baggage on your back, you cannot rest peacefully in heaven, because the karma is going to pull you back, and it's like, come on, you got to come back and pay this, because there's no point in growing spiritually because somebody got to pay this off because you created it for yourself. The stay in Devachan is proportional to the unfinished psychic impulses originating in the earth life. Those whose attractions were predominantly material will sooner be drawn back into the rebirth by the force of tanha. The force of tanha. Tanha is a thirst for life. So the spirit will always have a thirst for life as long as there is a karma associated with him. So this karma is something that's going to pull you down, come back into this world, paid off. The thirst for life expressed by the word tanha is a pulling or magnetic force lodged by the skandhas inherent in all beings. Skandhas can be determined. I'll just deviate a little bit out of the topic here, just to give you a backdrop of how we are structured. So anytime we leave this physical body, every experience we have in this body is imprinted to a permanent atom of the physical state. So every states which we spoke of, the physical, the astral, the causal, the mental, the causal, everything has a permanent atom. So every life, we have been experiencing living and dying for many years now, right? We probably have been dead thousands of times. Every life, whatever experiences we have, it's all concised and an abstract has been pointed in our permanent atom. So for every body, like a physical body I have, the astral body, the causal body, every body has a permanent atom. So every life we create new bodies, but this permanent atom is the same. So for every body we are going to, whatever experience we gain from that life, we are going to be storing in the permanent atom of that body. The best example or to relate to this is, there are some kids who are born with some extraordinary talents. Like, somebody is born with great musical talent. Right after like 2 or 3 years with no musical background, starts playing wonderful violin, piano, starts singing or painting. Some kids are born with extraordinary abilities. So that's the reason, because in some previous lives, they have worked to gain that talent, and they have acquired that knowledge to such a great and deeper level that it is impacted in their permanent atom of the body. So once they are born, any physical body, they take the memory from the permanent atom, draws into this body, right? So all the skill sets are transferred. It's the same with us. Say something in this life, I'm having very anger issues or something. I don't work towards that. Those things are completely embedded in my permanent atom. Next life, I take a new body, but guess what? The same things have to come back here. If I don't take time to work towards my issues, develop an intellect, and next life I'm born the same exact way I was this time, because my permanent atom does not have any good memories. So whatever you gain this life, the more time is spent towards gaining some skill sets, may it be spiritual or anything which is higher. Like, it's not like you're gonna get skill sets for robbing somebody or something. Those things don't work. But it's just in a bad karma. But something of a higher aspiration, they embed in your physical permanent atom of your physical body or astral body or a causal body, and those things will be carried on from life to life to life. So it's better we spend time towards gaining these kind of skill sets. The state of being in Devachan. Desperate material thinkers will be in a state of asleep or stupefied. This is what we went over that. For the average man, the Devachanic state is less encased in matter, less deluded by its swiftly changing appearances. Slowly and gradually, by reiterated experiences, gross matter loses its power over him and becomes a servant instead of its tyrant. Devachan, partial freedom, assimilates his experience in the earth. This is what I was looking for. The Devachan is a place where you assimilate all the experience you had in your earthly life. So you're going to think over every aspect of every thought, every small detail of this life, and you're going to say, okay, was this right, was this wrong, if this was not wrong, what was the right thing, why did I do that, next time I should not be doing this. So this is a kind of assimilation that happens, and it comes down to the next life. That's the lesson the soul had learned in that incarnation. So every incarnation we get few lessons. The dreams of the objective becomes the reality of the subjective existence. And this is one point I put out here. Love, the master of life, if real, pure and deep, will sometimes cause the happy ego in Devachan to affect those left on the earth for their good, not only in the moral life but also in that of the material circumstances. What the master says is, if a soul is in Devachan and it has pure love towards somebody, and that pure love can affect person who are living in the physical plane, because as I said, every thought form, every feeling has an energy of it. If it is good, it can definitely go and help somebody they love who are still in the physical plane. The best example they give is of a motherly love. Say if a mother dies in an accident or suddenly, leaving her young children in the physical world, this mother's heart is always beating and thinking about the child. The best thing it can do is always generate a loving, thoughtful and protective thoughts about their kids. Those forms do protect the kids. The best example there is in Harry Potter, how his mom's love always had a shield around him, so nobody could do anything because his mom's love protected him all the time. So this kind of pure love, if real, pure and deep, will sometimes protect a child. There are many examples in Invisible Helpers, a very good book, and kids can read that too. It's very simple and very stories, a lot of stories in it, by again Peter. He says how there was this mom who died long back, and she had young kids, probably 7 or 8 year old, and sometimes they were in the farm and they got lost in a cave. This is somewhere in rural England and or somewhere. So they lost in a cave and they didn't know how to get back. And their parents, the dad and family was looking for them. But these kids were in this dark cave for like 2 or 3 days. And their mom's spirit, they said they were not scared. Once they finally somebody found them and they got them back, and they were like, "Are you scared?" The kids are most happy and delighted, and they said, "No, we had mom with us all the time, sitting with us." So they were not scared. So that's the example Leadbeater says, that it's not the mom actually there, but the love of the mom always forms that protective sheet around the child, always protecting and taking care of. So they say this is even in the Devachan, you can affect people in the physical plane just with pure heart love. And no one but the masters can communicate with people in the Devachan. So this is very, very again reiterated, that don't fall prey for mediums who say, "I'm going to talk to your dead ones, your dead one is saying this, your dead one is saying that, you need to do that and this." It's not going to happen, it's not true, because nobody from the physical plane can talk to anybody in Devachan, because the gap is huge. Nobody can consciously in this physical body can transcend to Devachan and be back here. Only the masters can do that. Devachan is neither meaningless nor useless, it's just a state of rest. And also one thing they say, the masters, one of their job is to go to Devachan, sometimes to say in the process of evolution they are taking care of the society and trying to create environments suitable for the development of the people in the spiritual way. So if there is some soul in Devachan who is resting, but they think that this soul can be of benefit if it reincarnates, the masters can always go there, communicate with the soul and say, "Hey, I think that we have a need for you. If you're able to come back and help us by reincarnating, it will be helpful." Then that's the only, masters are the only people who can go there and get the souls back there. Otherwise nobody can touch souls who are in the Devachan plane. of the Devachana plane. The soul is an architect. I'll just let you guys read that. It's a little bit complicated it's the same explanation from Annie Besant. I liked it, the way she puts it there. The simple way, Church puts it this way. The self awakens from the dream. It is born swiftly off to a new body. And then just before birth, it sees for a moment all the causes that led it to Devachan and back to the life it is about to begin. And knowing it to be all just, to be the result of its own past life, it repines but takes up the cross again. And another soul has come back to birth. So what happens at the end of the Devachan plane is, it is living in a space of illusion. At one point even the illusions will fall away, starts to see everything in the light of truth. And at that point, I'm sorry, the self awakens and it goes through a moment of review. It reviews how it got into the Devachan, what was his previous lives, what all it has learned. And also a review is given, a peek is given into all the karma that the soul has, that it has to pay off. And they say, the masters kind of show them like a video, like literally like a mental image of saying, okay, so you have all these karmas and you have all these things that you got to learn. So I'm going to use this karma to teach you this lesson. Saying you have to lose your pride, you have too much pride. So I'm going to use this karma and give you these settings in this family which enables you to lose the pride or ego or whatever it is that we all are imperfect in one way or the other. So they review their whole life just before birth. The soul reviews the whole life and it makes perfect sense to the soul because, oh yeah, I do have all these things. Now I have all this karma too. Yeah, this life makes perfect. Let me choose this life, and a soul is born in there. So that's why they say, when you're born, you don't have to deeply feel sorrow about something or think, oh, why did God do this to me? Why did this happen to me? It's because it's an agreement. It's an agreement that you have signed off on before birth because you have reviewed it. It is fine. You signed off saying, okay, I'm going to pay off this much karma, and you came in there. So just take life as it comes and just use. And at the same time, God always the spirit. Nobody can take the free will away from the spirit, right? You can be born under circumstances, but you always have the free spirit to grow higher or aspire to the path that you want to. So always choose right path. So you always don't deviate on the path. So that's the small life or the states which we go through after death, the Kamaloka and the Devachan, and then again back into incarnation. So if you guys have any questions, I can take it.
Any questions?
Yeah. I have two questions. You said that on the Devachan, these people, they call themselves mediums, that they are giving messages to the people, the living ones.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot really contact all those souls. So when I see in the life, for example, you see them on TV or all these places where they work, and they're telling people, well, they're telling me this, and then they give facts about the deceased one, and they're true. So what are they doing? Are they getting messages, or are they reading the thoughts of the person they have in front of them?
Very good. That's So here I didn't go in detail, but the shells, the wildlife shells on the shapes, right? So what happens is when a person is in this Kamaloka, it has a strong desired body or an astral body, right? Even when the soul moves on, as I said, this shell still floats about. So when this shell floats about, there is some memory that is being stored, or the Akashic records they call it. So every memory of this person This shells, the good example they give is, if you cut the head of a chicken, right? There are two pieces, but both are, for some moment you see the both are moving, right? Even though they are not physically connected, you can see both are moving. That's exactly the example they give. Even though the shell is discarded, this shell has, if the karma, the desired body was so strong, this vitalized shell, that means it has a life of its own. And this gets the memory from me. Like say, it's my shell, right? But I have such a strong body that my astral body is not disintegrating. And that acts as an entity itself, even though it's like a cut off head from me. And it has all my memories. Everything is in there. So the mediums, what they do is they communicate with these kind of vitalized shells and they draw the information out. So that's how that works.
Okay.
But once the soul moves into the Devachan, they can talk. But it's not even, these things that they are communicating is not even real. It's not even the soul of the person. It's just the energy, the vitalized particle behaving as a soul.
Okay. Now on the rebirth, on the Devachanic, you said the masters, the soul, at soul level, you have a deal with the masters. Who chooses what masters are going to work with you? Or
No, nobody chooses that. Nobody chooses that. We have a whole set of karma devatas, we call that. These people are devas, whose job is to deal with people's karmas.
Oh.
Yeah, they have the complete account of everything that has happened, and it is like a self-sustaining system. Like it's like like a computer. You program it and leave it there. Once you put the data in there, it gives you the final product. Like you plug in an Excel sheet. You plug a number in some spot. You have the formulas all written. All you want is the final one. You get it, right? Just that way, these karma devatas has created this self-sustaining model, they say, which works itself out for each and every person. Apart from that, there are these gods, demigods, they are called as. These demigods, their work is to deal with making sure that the karmas are dealt with, that people are given the right circumstances to develop, and at the same time the karmas is worked off, and they are always moving forward. They just try to keep them on the right track. But still, they can't mess with the free will of the spirit. So we born with free will, we have all the circumstances, we still fall back sometimes, and sometimes we're not in a very good circumstance, but we still raise a ball. So it varies.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We have different religions. So you're a follower of Krishna, another person is a follower of Jesus, another is a follower of Virgin Mary. Are these the masters that are going? Oh, it's like thinking of the second question. If you're a follower, let's say, of Krishna, is he like, okay, I'm gonna help this soul because I've been doing all the earthly life with this one? No. It's just
no. The gods, what we have created, are just illusions. They are just names. It does not have any meaning in the real life. It's just the religions. That doesn't mean that they are not true. They are the masters who incarnated to teach people about God and religion. Like Jesus is one of the masters. Krishna is one of the masters. They incarnate. These are enlightened beings. They take the same form, sometimes as a prophet and sometimes as Jesus, sometimes as Krishna, just to make sure they give the knowledge out, get the people on the right track, and in a real sense, in a true sense, according to the Theosophical literature, it has been again and again said, even the first objective is, you can follow any religion, any dogma, it doesn't matter. You believe in God. Whatever you pray Jesus, you pray Krishna, it goes to the same entity. It is one power.
Okay, so God will be on top of everything and everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
The logos is top of everything.
The logos.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the Kamaloka, you have on your earthly body, you go to the Kamaloka. Now you were talking about the shells and all this. Is your my body, the way I see it here, is going to be also in kama loka, or is just going to be at soul level energy?
We are just going to be at an energy level. Once the etheric double will almost have the resemblance of the body. The etheric double disintegrates. As soon as the body decomposes, the etheric double is gone. There is no form. The best way, they say, is once a physical body dies, the best way is to cremate the body. You burn the body off. Once the body is burnt off, the etheric double immediately disintegrates. That's the very best good thing you can do for the person who's dead, because once there is no etheric double, there is no all these bad elements which can come and use this etheric double to do some bad things, like the black magic and all the other stuff, which we didn't go into detail, but it's still there. So these bad elements, we are not leaving the etheric double hanging around the body until the body decomposes, which takes like 2 to 3 months to a year for the etheric double to slowly disintegrate. If you burn the body off, the etheric double is dissolved right away, and the man is like, once he sees the body is burnt off, he knows he cannot come back, and it kind of sets his mind to say, okay, fine, forget it, it's not all gone, and nothing is going to happen, I'm just going to see what is next, ahead of me rather than looking back. So that's how the astral body, once it goes to the plane of 1, 2, and 3, it's not really any form. It doesn't have any form. It's just a pure energy. Yes.
Are these your words?
No, none of these are my words. Yes, I should have said that.
Okay, so I think in today's terms there are some things that add clarity, it's my opinion, that would help the wording of some of these things, because you're using some words that I think aren't quite correct in today's understanding of the world. So like you say, entities, that's really a projection, okay? I think, okay? That's my opinion. The other one is, you talked about vibration. It's really resonance. In the real world, everything is frequency. It exists infinitely, and there are segments of that that create certain reactions. So, to me, to add clarity to my mind, that's what I think is my opinion.
Yeah,
Okay?
these are the words which I kept true to how Anibas and Leadbeater and Judge had written it down. So yes, with age, these were written almost like centuries ago, 1 century, at least 1900. So
with time,
with time,
words
yes,
and meanings
yes, definitely,
change. So it's not that it's wrong; it's just different wording.
Yeah.
I would also say that this is really very analytical. The person is thinking very much in an organized path, which is the way I think. I do understand Kamalika, and I do understand the Shivi, or if I'm saying that incorrectly, whatever the word is, okay? I think that all that's achievable, like you said. I guess how we achieve it is really up to our positive energy.
Yes.
Okay? And what we resonate off of with that. Okay? So, I constantly hear, looking at this, comparing it to life right now. A lot of people are caught in turmoil and also in mourning for individuals. And this now, even in our society, okay? I'm talking about the theology, whatever, I can't ever pronounce the words correctly, should. They are caught, and they need to be shown a better path to achieve what you're saying. And it's very stressful right now in the world, okay, what's happening. And if we react to it the right way, and we do the right things, we're going to help mankind or humanity in very positive ways. So I see all this fitting together. It's very analytical. It shows the negative side of life as well as the positive side of life, the physical world and the astral plane. And I think there is knowledge evolving even right now about, if you want to say those are theorems, and we have proofs now, we are gaining proofs in the real world from other individuals.
Yeah.
So, how do we as members of our society evolve with this? I mean, it's a lot of thoughts, okay? If you could put it into one concise sentence, how can this help us?
For me, the Theosophical study has two aspects, the way I see it.
Yes, please.
One is the theory. This is all the theoretical aspects.
Right.
Right? You can know about this, you don't know about this, it doesn't make a difference to you.
Okay.
But,
Again, if you could put it down into how is this going to help us achieve into one concise sentence?
the way I see it is just the knowledge of it doesn't make us deviate towards the bad side. It stops us from going towards the negativity. Just by knowing this, when I am deeply in some negative thought, it's definitely going to be a spark within my mind to check. I know all these things are going to cause a very wrong astral body, so I need to stop this thought and try to think something else. So
Okay.
just
So
just
let
for
me
me.
pose back to you another thought, because you tend to be very wordy.
No,
Okay.
but it depends on the individual.
Mm.
To me,
No.
to me,
I have a real response for her.
yeah, but to me, it gives meaning to our existence.
Brandon,
That's
I agree,
to me.
okay?
Yeah, it's a meaning to the
But
existence.
other people might perceive it differently.
If you're achieving a good blending of Kamaloka and the next step, I think it becomes unconscious, your love towards others, okay? And your humility about that. It should be natural. It should not have to be something you constantly have to think about. That's my opinion, okay? And I really find this to be a good tool set to understand that. So,
Yeah, yes,
kinda having
this
a
has to be
discussion
natural.
around
I do
sometimes.
agree. I want to elaborate on that point.
okay,
Compassion and love has to be natural. It should not be forced because of this
Right.
theory. Very good. Then I would suggest you go study J. Krishnamurti because that's what he says. Because his way of approach to society is completely different to what the actual society was founded. Because we have the theory here, which is good because it gives meaning to our existence, which feeds our intellect. Because at this point we think with our intellect, okay, he's saying just leave all your passions, leave your desires, leave your passion. It's like, why should I leave it? What is there in me to live it? Because I see everybody being happy going through with these passions and desires and doing well in their physical life, and I'm the one sitting and meditating and not being successful in life, then you lose the purpose of it. For me, this gives a purpose. Why? Understanding the structure and gives a logic for my intellect. The intellect always likes to dissect things. It likes to dissect, disintegrate and see things.
Right.
Like say for example, I want to know Jean, right? I want to know Jean, right?
right,
If I use my intellect, I can cut open John and see he has a heart, but is that John? Yes, it is part of him, his body, but that's not him. If I have to know him, it's not through the intellect. I cannot dissect him. It's through staying with him at a very different plane. I have to connect with him to know what are his wishes, what did he go through, how was his life, what was his experience, what is